Hunting Western Mass. What's happening? Good to see you. Today was a successful day in the woods. I'm really super excited. I got this deer hanging here. You probably can't see it because it's dark in here. And I just wanted to tell you the story about how I got it. I got into the woods this morning a little bit late. There was tons of trucks. There was tons of shooting. It was pandalarium in the woods. Got to one point, it sounded like a turkey shoot out there. There were just shots going on all over the place around 11:30 or 12. And so I figured where they were hunting, kind of knew of a bedding area they probably snuck into. So I went over there, and at first I was sitting up high a little bit, and these turkeys came in. I heard this noise, and it was turkeys, and they were making a racket, and they were like 30 yards away. And they were kind of angling towards me, and I could tell they wanted to go right through where I was, but they weren't sure what I was. So they were sitting there just scratching stuff up, making a ton of noise, and but they say where there's turkey, there's deer. So I was trying to be patient, and eventually I just got sick of it. So and I videoed this. There'll be video of this on the final wrap up. Production I'm going to do at the end of the year, but they were making such a racket that finally I just said, "Hey, turkeys, get out of here!" And they froze, and they stuck their heads up, and they looked around, and then they were like, "F you," and they just started scratching around. And then I kind of moved and stood up, and I went and got up into my stand, and from my stand I was sitting there for a while, and then I heard a noise, and I was like, "Oh, it was in the kind of the direction the turkeys went." So I figured the turkeys were coming back, but then I look at it; it was a train of deer, and they were 150 yards out, and that's a fur piece. But I got Angelina's got a scope on her now, so I put the scope out, and I saw a deer step, and actually I didn't. I was sitting there. Didn't even have my gun in my hand. I was farting around with my phone or something, and I saw the deer like look away, and so I grabbed my gun, I put my scope up, and I saw the deer at like 150 yards, and I said, okay, she's not looking at me, and then I had to, like, from where she was, I could only see a brown spot, and then I looked down like this birch tree. I said, okay, I gotta go down this birch tree, and she's like right there. So I put the scope up. I saw the brown, and then I wasn't sure, so I looked again, looked at the birch tree, came down, put the scope on her, and I said, you know what, I'm pulling the trigger. So blam, pull the trigger, dropped her in her tracks, and she dropped down, and I climbed down, and this is where I almost got a twofer, and this is something I want to share with you guys that I should have slowed down a little bit. I knew the deer was hit good because I saw it drop, saw the tail twitch a couple times. So when I was walking over, I got close. The last deer in line from that train was the corker. He was a big buck, and he was hanging out until I got a little bit close, and he took off, took off running, and I was like, oh man. So I closed the 50 yards that was left to me and the deer, and I stopped, and I just kind of got down on one knee, and I thanked the animal, and I thanked the forest, and so I could still kind of hear him crash, so I pulled out my doe bleat, and I hit my doe bleat, and he started to come back. And when I say he was a corker, he was a corker. I saw his rack; it was massive. But I saw his rack when he was taking off. So when he came back, he put the thickest stuff he could between where I was and where he was. And he wasn't, I realized that I had separated him from his harem of does and himself. So he was coming back to those doe bleeds. And he got about 60 yards, and he hung. And it was starting to get dark, and I realized I had to clean the deer because I had to drag it a little ways. So I did that. But the lesson in that is that if you see a doe, especially at this time of the year, we're coming up on the second rut, or if you shoot a deer and it's a doe, if you got a doe tag, wait and be patient, because that buck is going to want to come around and see what's going on. I was like that close to having a twofer on a really nice deer. So I harvested a really nice doe. I'm very ecstatic. I've been doing a lot of hard hunting. I turned one of my guys on today to a good spot, and I got some good karma that came back for me for that. So even though he didn't get a deer, he got into a good spot, and um, he's welcome to go in there, and I gave him some good intel, and karma came around. So uh, scouting, do your homework. Scouting pays off, and got a nice doe for the freezer. I want to say congrats to I think Jason Kingsbury got a deer. I think Vincent Herrera got a deer. All the guys that are checking in and putting your pictures up, and man, fantastic. We're really happy about that. We love to see those posts. That giant bear that got whacked and checked in up at Gergear, fantastic. That's amazing. So yeah, today was a great day to be in the woods. We got second rut coming up. Things are going on in the woods. The bucks are running with the does. Right now, you're going to be seeing those bachelor groups with a bunch of does. So look for several bucks with several does at the same time. Stay on your toes. Now, I shot this deer at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So what happened was it got pushed into some thick stuff probably early on, and it hung out, and then they can't sit there all day. They got to get a drink. So what I did in this particular case was I found a bedding area, and I posted up at the bedding area, and I waited for those deer to come out and get water. Because they have to, like Mama said, they can't sit there all day. They got to come out and get food and water. And she's right. And so that's it from Hunting Western Mass. Had a great day. Got one hanging. Wish you guys all luck. Keep them posts coming. And peace.